Happy April 1st, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo. No April Fools today is right, Robo. I hate April Fools and April Fool's Day jokes. So that being said, let's jump into all of these games. Matt, happy Monday to you. We've got 8 games on the slate. Now, some games matter a lot more than others. The game versus the Kraken versus the Sharks. We're going to talk about it, but you guys don't bet games that are pretty meaningless out there. We've got 2.5 weeks left in the regular season. I can't believe we're at this point already. So let's jump into the first game here. The Colorado Avalanche taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, the Columbus Blue Jackets sitting 8th in the Metro here. We look at the Avs. They are sitting second in the Central. They want to take the Central. So this game is meaningful for them. The Dallas Stars are sitting 3 points in front of them and do have a game in hand. The Avs have a game in hand over the Stars. So we're going to see the best effort out of the Colorado Avalanche in this one. Now, this is the first game of a road trip here. They have the Minnesota Wild on Thursday and the Oilers on Friday. So I do think in this one, we get off to a hot start. Now, Nikushkin, if I can talk, is out of the lineup today. He should be returning versus the Wild or Edmonton. So I am expecting him back there. We know how strong Nathan MacKinnon has been out there on the ice. Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, and Nikita Kucherov all are chasing that point total in the league to have the most points. So right now, I'm looking at Nathan MacKinnon to have a strong performance here. You can't even take him for 2+ points with any value. You've got to look at him all the way up to 3+ points for any value in this one. That's coming in at plus 200. 3 points is a lot to ask, but is it really versus Tarasov and the Columbus Blue Jackets? I don't think so. Now, Tarasov has never faced the Colorado Avalanche before. So we can see that go one of two ways. It also means the Avs have never faced him. So I would look at this one here for the Avs to play strong. This team is just so strong offensively and so much to play for, so much talent out there. I think they hit him and they hit him hard. And we look at the Columbus Blue Jackets, and this team has been struggling to keep the puck out of the back of their net. I am going to look at the Avs in the first period here to go over their team total of 1.5. We were able to hit on that with the Edmonton Oilers versus the Sharks in that last matchup. I think we have a very similar game here. So give me the Avs first period team total over 1.5 at plus 172. If you want to take them to score in the first 5 minutes, I like that as well. I do think the Avs get off to a hot start. Now, like I said, Nathan MacKinnon, so highly juiced, but those 3+ points, it should be able to cash for us in this one. That's coming in at plus 200. You can't even take him for the anytime goal. That's coming in at plus or minus 155. If you wanted to look at the power play goal, I would expect that he'd be able to get it. And I do think Columbus comes out a little scrappy in this one and takes those penalties. So they are off a win over the Penguins. And again, the Penguins had to win. They got that win via a shootout, 4-3. And we're seeing the Avs rolling in here off a win versus the Predators, a 7-4 win on Saturday. They've clinched the playoff spot for the 7th straight time. But again, they want that first place in the Central. So this is a meaningful game. Let's make some freaking money today. Let's go, you guys. The next game here is the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the New York Rangers. Now, the Penguins have 75 points, sitting 7th in the Metro. They're behind the Flyers for that second wild card spot. Okay, so they're only 7 points behind the Flyers. That being said, I don't think they're making the playoffs. Everything would have to go absolutely right. And they also have to jump above the Devils, the Islanders, and the Red Wings to take that last spot over the Flyers. So there's a huge hurdle for them to face, but this team isn't giving up, and I do expect them to come out strong, especially in net. Tristan Jarry has been phenomenal on and off this season. And then we look at Igor Shesterkin here. For the New York Rangers, I'm looking for a goaltending battle between these two teams with a game that the Penguins know means so much. I expect that defense to really lock down in the first period. Now, if the Penguins come out and play a strong defensive game, but then we start to see the Rangers finding the back of the net, they're going to change their gameplay in this one. So I'm not going to look at the full game to the under 6.5. I've just got to isolate that first period because the Penguins will adapt to whatever game the Rangers end up playing. Now, the Rangers sitting nicely in first place in the Metro. They've already got 104 points on the season. They won the last 4 meetings versus the Penguins, including earlier in March, mid-March, 7-4. So this is their first game home off a 2-game road trip. They've got the Devils on Wednesday, and it's the first night of a back-to-back here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, if they win tonight and then beat the Devils, they're going to get those extra points on the board, and they will jump above the Devils, I believe, with those 2 wins. So these are do or die situations. I believe the Penguins believe, but I think they're going to be out of the playoffs, you guys. I do think in this one, though, the under 1.5 in the first period is where I want to go at plus 100. I expect the best out of the defense and playoff style hockey to start this one. Now, if you're looking for an anytime goal scorer, we know we can always circle Sid the Kid from the Pittsburgh Penguins. I love to look at Panarin here for the New York Rangers. He's just been so phenomenally strong. 44 goals and 107 points on the season. So I would be circling him for the Rangers. Let's move on to the next game. The New York Islanders are taking on the Flyers. Again, playoff style hockey here, with the Islanders 5th in the Metro with 77 points. We just talked about these teams fighting it out, looking to take this last wild card spot from the Philadelphia Flyers. So the Flyers sitting 4th in the Metro. They have 82 points. They're barely hanging on to this last wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. They're just 2 points ahead of the Detroit Red Wings, who are also in action tonight and have every ability to get the win. So we're going to get the best effort out of the Flyers, but this team is beat up, in my opinion, you guys. They're playing such hard defensive games that I do think the Islanders come out hard hitting in this one and end up getting the win. The Flyers' tiredness and Ergen in goal, while he has been solid, I think is exhausted as well. And we've seen that with their last 4 losses. So I'm looking at the Islanders. I think there's value on them here. You can get the Islanders on that money line. Let's just pull up those odds, as I haven't given you guys the odds yet today. All odds are over on FanDuel. When we looked at that first game, the Colorado Avalanche, huge favorites at minus 345. That's kind of why we didn't go into it. Plus 270 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But back to the Islanders and the Flyers. The Islanders coming in at plus 105, minus 126 here for the Flyers. That total is 5.5 at minus 102 plus 102 to the under, minus 124 to the over. Looking at this one, I love that first period under 1.5. That's coming in at minus 112. I also like the no goals in the first 10 minutes. That's coming in at plus 110. I expect this one to more than likely go into the third period without either of these teams finding the back of the net. I really do think Valama will play a strong game here for the New York Islanders, and the Islanders, off that loss, will give that support in front of goal. These two teams have split this season so far. So we did see the Philadelphia Flyers. They won in shootout in New York just in November. Now, it was a 0-0 game going into OT. It had to go to shootout with the Flyers winning 1-0. The Islanders have won the 3 prior meetings versus the Flyers, so they do have an advantage winning 3 of the last 4. I love them with that plus money here on the road in a game that is so important for them. I was looking at a couple other things too. The Flyers team total to the under, but the books have a 3.5. It is minus 180 to the under 3.5. So you definitely can't hit on that. Way too much juice. If you can find an alt number under 2.5 for the Flyers here, I kind of like it, you guys, if you're getting plus money on that. But I do think just give me the under 1.5 in the first period and the no goal in the first 10 minutes. I would look at that second period to be goalless as well. The under 5.5, I definitely think is a strong play in this game. Okay. The Detroit Red Wings, we just talked about it. This team is 2 points behind the Philadelphia Flyers. The Tampa Bay Lightning are sitting 4th in the Atlantic with 89 points. We have the Detroit Red Wings with 80 points. They want this last wild card spot, and they have every opportunity of picking up the points tonight versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, Alex Leon getting the start here for the Red Wings and Andre Vasilevsky for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Current odds on this one, the Detroit Red Wings at plus 152. I wish we were getting more value on the puck line at plus 1.5 at minus 160, but I do think they have the opportunity of pulling off the upset. That total is 6.5. Now, minus 104 to the over, minus 118 to the under. The defense has kicked into another gear here with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And we know Detroit is capable of winning low scoring games as well. Look for this one to stay under that total of 6.5 at -118. Has so much value. This is playoff style hockey for both of these teams right now, with every single point being needed. So when we look at the last couple of matchups between these two, we have seen the Red Wings be able to get those wins. They won in January 2-1 and back in October 6-4. So in October, it was a higher scoring game. I do think we'll see a game very similar to January. This is too late in the season for these teams to get into a shootout, in my opinion. So the value on the Red Wings at +158 is where my money will go. We've also seen the Red Wings win 2 of the last 3 meetings in Tampa, so they have had nice road ice advantage versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. And when we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, what this team has been able to do on the defensive side of the puck, it's been absolutely incredible. Looking at their last couple of games, they've been able to hold the Bruins and the Islanders just to 1 goal. So this game under 6.5, it seems like a gift. I would even look at alt numbers here. The alt total under 4.5. The plus money you're going to be getting on that. And if these teams score quick in that first period and that total goes up, and then I would definitely take it back again to that under, because I just don't see this being one of those games that's back and forth. That's for sure. Let's get this money tonight, you guys. Isles need the win tonight. Yeah, the Isles need the win. The Flyers need the win, and the Red Wings need the win. Everyone seems to need the win tonight, but I'm with you. I think the Islanders will get that win. They have to come out and they have to hit the Flyers really hard. This team is exhausted out there on the ice. Okay, the Florida Panthers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Battle of the Atlantic here. We know what happened the last time these two met up. Toronto was able to get the win. So they're split on the season. The Florida Panthers are sitting second in the Atlantic with 99 points. And we have the Toronto Maple Leafs sitting third, 93 points. So they're 6 points behind the Panthers in this one. Now, Austin Matthews, we know, has been absolutely phenomenal on home ice. He's coming in at -125 for the anytime goal, but I'm not going to do player props in this, you guys. I do think this is another under game. Looking at that total, 6.5 at -128 to the under. Again, I'd feel comfortable in alt totals in this. I'd take it as low as 5.5 to that under if you can find nice value on that alt to the under. The Florida Panthers are -137 and +140 or +114 here for the Toronto Maple Leafs at home. And it seems tempting. You got to love that plus money with Toronto, but I just can't get there on a side with this one. I'm going to play the under 6.5. I'm going to alt it also to the under 5.5. The only way I think we go over the 5.5 is if this game goes to OT. The opportunity to go to overtime is +370. And could this go 2-2 to overtime? Absolutely. I would expect more a 3-2 game to go to overtime. So I'm still going to play the overtime at +370, as I do think it's that tight of a game here. I just hope that doesn't ruin our under 6.5 in that case. But like I said, it would be ruining my under 5.5, my alt number, not my under 6.5. The under 6.5, I can't see this going 3-3 to OT. I can see it going 3-3 to OT. It's going to be a hard one, you guys. Let's just keep our fingers crossed on that. I do like the first period under 1.5, though. That's coming in at +100. And you also look at these teams when they've met up, their last 6 games have stayed under that total. We've seen a low scoring games, 3-1, 2-1 style matchups out there between these two Atlantic Division opponents. And they're very hard physical matchups that they play in. So give me the under, you guys. I'm not going to take player props because of it, but if you want to, it's Austin Matthews you've got to look at. Barkov has been playing elite out there as well for the Florida Panthers, so you could look at Barkov. He was able to secure his 20th goal in his last game out, so that's now 9 seasons with 20 or more goals in that season. He's been phenomenal out there. Brandon Montour, another offensive defenseman that you look at out there. So it's going to be a great game, you guys. Again, careful with those player props because I do think it stays under. Yeah, we've looked at the Rangers game already. So looking at the New York Rangers, I'm looking at them to have a really solid first period. out there on the ice. Igor Shesterkin versus Tristan Jarry. I'm taking the under 1.5 in the first period, playoff style hockey. The Pittsburgh Penguins just don't realize that they're basically out of this, I think. And I think we're going to see the most out of them. I think Tristan Jarry and Igor Shesterkin can do enough that this is a lower scoring first period. I'd look at the goals even. No goals in the first 10 minutes, but I do like the under 1.5 better. We know the Rangers have so many playmakers with Panarin that I don't think that they come out wanting to get those goals quick in this one. I think this will be one of those games where both of these defenses kind of feeling each other out a little bit. Take it kind of slow in this game, and then we see those goals coming in the second and third period. So I'm not willing to take the full game to the under, but that first period under 1.5 at plus 100. And then I do the no goals in the first 10 minutes as well. I think it's a solid way to look at that game. Bennett shots on goal. Yeah, I like where you guys are going. For sure. You're welcome. Okay. Let's look now at the Edmonton Oilers taking on the St. Louis Blues. Another game I think has every opportunity to go to OT. We know the St. Louis Blues are fighting everything out. They want that last wild card spot. They're sitting 5 points behind the LA Kings, and the Kings have played one fewer game. So the St. Louis Blues will bring everything they have. This is a hard matchup with the Edmonton Oilers, who are sitting second in the Pacific. Now, when we look at everything, Connor McDavid is in the race as well for the most points on the season. McKinnon has 27, Kucherov at 126, and McDavid at 125. So 127, 126, 125. You know Connor McDavid's going to be looking to find the back of the net tonight on Binghamton. I don't know if I trust taking any props in this one for the Edmonton Oilers, because I do think St. Louis absolutely needs this win so hard. I'm expecting their defense to lock down in a major way on the Edmonton Oilers. And we know if they're able to lock down on the defensive side of the puck, I still don't trust Skinner in net for the Edmonton Oilers. And I do think the St. Louis Blues have every opportunity of pulling off this upset win here if Jordan Binnington stands on his head. Now, Jordan Binnington's prop tonight is 29.5 save shots on goal, and I am going to take that to the over. That's coming in at minus 128. As long as he stands on his head, we could see the St. Louis Blues pull off the upset. The puck line is too juicy for the St. Louis Blues. Looking at the puck line here as I pull up odds, just bear with me. Plus 1.5 is minus 140. So actually the juice has come down during the day. It was minus 150 on the St. Louis Blues on that puck line when I looked earlier, but you can get them straight up on the money line at plus 172. And I do think it's worth a shot. Now, I'm not saying they're a better team than the Edmonton Oilers, but I think what we're going to get out of the St. Louis Blues as they try their best to make the playoffs in this final push here, we'll see it tonight versus Edmonton. And again, Edmonton is on the road. I don't trust Skinner, and I do think the Blues have every opportunity. So give me the St. Louis Blues at plus 172 on the money line. You can put a little bit on that puck line if you want at minus 140 now. The value is there, but it's Binnington save shots on goal over 29.5 that I think is probably one of the better bets of the day. Okay. The LA Kings taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Kings have lost their last two games. They lost on Saturday to my Calgary Flames. Calgary just ran over them 4-2. And we look at the Winnipeg Jets here. This team has lost their last 6 games. They lost Saturday to the Ottawa Senators 3-2. They have to get back on track. Now, Boussoit getting the start here for the Winnipeg Jets, and Cam Talbot for the LA Kings. I love the goaltending matchup here, and I do think we'll see the best out of both of these goaltenders. Again, this is another game that has every opportunity to go to overtime that I will be betting to go to OT. You're not getting as much value as a couple of the other games, but this one coming in at plus 320 to go to overtime. I love this one to the under 5.5. I just do not see either of these teams having their way with their opponent's goaltender. You look at the Winnipeg Jets in their last 6 games that they've lost. they have been struggling to find the back of the net. They have such strong offensive playmakers out there, but they have not been clicking at all out there on the ice, only scoring 10 goals in their last 6 games. Now, Kopitar has been absolute fire for the LA Kings. He's dangerous out there. So if you do want to look at one player to get that anytime goal for the LA Kings, it would be Kopitar. But because I'm looking at a lower scoring game, I'm kind of cautious at taking those player props in this game. But the no goal in the first 10 minutes, I love. That's coming in at plus 108. I think we can see both goaltenders absolutely bring it tonight. Now, when you look at the LA Kings, they've got 87 points. They've got the second wild card spot in the Western Conference. They're only 5 points ahead of the St. Louis Blues. So if they lose tonight and the St. Louis Blues win, this is the recipe for disaster for the LA Kings. They need to bring it each and every game. When we look here at the Winnipeg Jets, they're now third in the Central with 94 points. They're only 4 points ahead the Nashville Predators in the Central Division. If the Preds keep rolling hot and the Winnipeg Jets lose this game and lose their next, we could see the Preds overtake them. This series is split between these two. Both teams are going to bring it. And what's best about both of these teams is their defenses. So I love the under 5.5. I love the under 1.5 in the first period and the no goals in the first 10 minutes. That's getting you plus money at plus 108. Now I just want to see if there's any goalie props in this game yet. Okay, Cam Talbert's numbers coming in at 27.5. We know the LA Kings give a ton of support to their goaltending. The Winnipeg Jets are going to bring it offensively, but I don't think we'll see him go over the 27.5 just because I don't think the offenses will be able to get that many shots. So I'm going to stay off that. Boussois' numbers coming in at 25.5. It's too juiced to the over at minus 128. But again, we know the Winnipeg Jets have the ability to lock down on the defensive side of the puck. I was really hoping for better numbers out here. 24s, 23s and a halves. I hate taking goalie props to the under, so I'm not going to touch either of these goalies to the under. Especially you look at Cam Talbot, that under 27.5 is juiced at minus 128. So it is unbettable for me in this situation, but I do think both of these goalies have fantastic games. Yeah, the St. Louis Blues absolutely have to stay out of the box. That is for sure. And a lot of these teams really do. We've had teams struggling on the power play and on the kill. You look at the Philadelphia Flyers, their kill hasn't been strong either. This is a team that was doing so phenomenally well during the regular season on their kill. If the Flyers take the penalties tonight, we will see the New York Islanders capitalize on it. So while I do think it's a low-scoring game, if you're looking to bet any player props for the New York Islanders, I would look at the power play points tonight over the regular goals. Bo Horvat being really strong out there on the power play. So looking at power play points for sure. And that's about it, you guys. We've gone over, well, we haven't gone over all 8 games. I left off the Seattle Kraken and the San Jose Sharks. I know you guys want to talk at Grubauer and Blackwood expected in here. We have a huge favorite in the Seattle Kraken, current odds minus 220, plus 180 here for the Sharks, total of 5.5. Now this 5.5 is juiced to the over at minus 118. I would rather put money on the San Jose Sharks here to get the win at plus 180 than bet anything for the Kraken. I just look at these two teams. There's nothing left to really play for. And what are we going to get out of both of them? I would expect some goals to come in. I don't trust the goaltending here, especially Mackenzie Blackwood. Now, Grubauer hasn't been his best this season. If you're looking at anytime goal scorers, you got Jared McCann of the Seattle Kraken rolling in at plus 180. Eberle at plus 190. Yeah, I don't love this game, you guys. I think this is a game where you either take the San Jose Sharks and plus money on their home ice to be able to get that win, or you don't touch it at all. Let's just look at how these teams have done as of recent versus each other. Again, this is one I'm not betting, but we will go over what we can look at. So the Sharks won in January 2-0. We did see the Seattle Kraken win back in November 7-1. So these teams have split on the season. We have seen the Seattle Kraken hold that advantage, winning 6 of the last 9. These teams trend to that under those. So while Mackenzie Blackwood isn't the strongest in net, this is an under style matchup between these two. We look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings. We've seen only one of those go over, a 7-1 win for the Kraken. Let's look at the Kraken's, let's look at the Sharks team total. If we're getting the Sharks team total under 3.5 with good money, under 3.5 for the Kraken is minus 126. I wouldn't touch that with Mackenzie Blackwood. You're getting the San Jose Sharks under 2.5 at minus 140. Let's look at the first period over 1.5, and that's the only way I would bet this one. The first period over 1.5 goals coming in at minus 110. So you guys, 8 games on the slate. You don't have to bet all of them. I definitely Okay, we froze there for a minute. Sorry about that, you guys. So the games I'm circling, the Edmonton Oilers versus St. Louis Blues. I love Binghamton for his over safe shots on goal. I also love that one to go to OT. I think that's a really strong way to look at that matchup. I also love the LA Kings and the Winnipeg Jets to the under, the first period to the under, with that one to go to OT as well. I also think the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, worth betting this one to that under in the first period, the under 1.5, and overtime at plus 370. The under 6.5, I do think, is in play as well. Looking at the Islanders and the Flyers, first period, under 1.5 and no goals in the first 10 minutes. Islanders on the money line. The Detroit Red Wings and the Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm taking a chance on the Red Wings with that plus money. So love this game to the under 6.5. Both of these teams can bring it defensively. The Avs team total over 1.5 in the first period at plus 172. And then the Penguins and the Rangers, first period under 1.5, no goals in the first 10 minutes, opportunity to go to overtime. So that was a quick recap of everything I'm really loving out there on the ice. You guys, player props, not loving tonight, as I do think lower scoring battles out there on the ice. All the best in all of your bets. Make sure you join me on Game Time Decisions, talking some MLB and NHL at 6:40 Eastern. And then later tonight on Sports Rage, 10:10 Eastern, I will be live with Gabe and Cam. We'll have laughs and make some money over there. So I'll see you later, you guys. Be good. We'll talk soon.